Give us if we're a little rough around the edges. Still getting everything figured out. I'm Mike Lafferty, your congenial host. I'll be playing Captain Battle, a Golden Age super science kind of patriotic hero. And I'll hand the mic over to Aldo, who is the GM. Aldo, you want to give us a brief introduction?
Sure. So this game is going to take place in the city of Del Rey, which is the campaign city that I came up with for the Superverse to set this series of adventures in. We're gonna why don't we actually go around and introduce the individual characters, and then I'll build out from there. Does that make sense? Good. So we've got Captain Battle already there. Mm-hmm. Give us a. Do you want? Yeah. Then Walt, why don't you give us an introduction to the cowl and so on and so forth.
So the origin of the cowl came in when Mike Lafferty decided to go on Indiegogo because Kickstarter was pissing him off, and
that's true.
It is true, and he had this collection of PDFs where you could create your own superhero and super vehicle, and I was like, I so want to do that. So then Jacob Blackman did the art, and the cowl was born, kind of like a runaway kid. Think the mixture of Shazam and Batman, where a runaway kid eventually gets superpowers, then grows up to be Bruce Wayne and decides to wear tights, flaunt his butt, and fight evil. So, yeah, there's that.
Okay, cool. Mistress Mysteria, I believe. Alice?
Mistress Mysteria is a circus-themed mystic. Her short version of her background is that she is the daughter of a supervillain who's head of a mafia-type group. She found out what her father really was up to when she was in her teens, and she ran away to a circus, a mysterious night circus of some sort that turned out to have a mysterious person who ended up being her teacher for several years. She later graduated, quote unquote, and has since then decided to try and stop her father. Here is a quick screen share of my character portrait. It doesn't want to show right now. Never mind. So I won't worry about it. There you go.
Okay, great. Thank you. And then Brandon, you're playing a pre-gen, right? That's Brunt. Do you want to give us a sense of how you imagine him around the parameters that you were provided?
Brunt is a rock-based private detective, and having been through an accident that turned him into this rock-based creature. For a while, he was kind of lost after he became afflicted with these powers of a hulking creature made of stone, and he languished around until somebody gave him purpose. With that history, I really do see strong ties with Ben Grimm's The Thing and such, and so I'm definitely going to be approaching it in somewhat of a similar vein. I did just write you a question about is he able to move through stone, or since he's at high competence dice, is that something that maybe we give him?
That's a good question. It's been a while since I look at the stone form power. I believe, yes, you can move through stone. Let me quickly verify that. But in either case, you can use competency dice to add effects like that if you don't have them. But yes, moving through stone, I believe, is something you can do. Let's take a look.
Is it energy form is the superpower of it?
It's elemental form. Movement. While in elemental form, characters may emerge with and move through the same element.
Awesome.
Their movement rate is 10 miles per hour per die, right? And plus 5 per die after that. So yeah, absolutely. So why don't we say this? Well, the Superverse is a world much like the worlds that appear in the mainstream comics, right? There have been superheroes around since the 1930s or 40s. In fact, Captain Battle probably served with some of them, right? Because he's from the golden age of this particular universe, or is he porting in from a different universe? the way you see it, Mike. Mike, I've lost I can't hear you now.
Sorry, I was talking on mute.
There you go.
Let's just keep it simple and say he's from this universe. He just takes his vitamins, so he's been around for a long time.
All right, so he has served with some of the, with Freedom Star, with Thunderbird, which are characters that appear in the Superverse. Those characters have those heroes have retired a while ago, like in the late 1960s. So you're probably the last one of that breed that's kind of still around. Now I want, and I know you said keep it simple, but my understanding from talking to you is that there's something particularly kind of transdimensional about Captain Battle that he feels like he has.
Well, he's got the, I don't want to say magic hammer, but he's got a super science hammer.
Yeah.
And the power is similar to what Miss America has in Marvel Comics. It can bash holes in dimensional walls. So he uses that to patrol the multiverse and hook up with alternate versions of himself for adventures, I mean. And that's basically that, yeah.
Great. And does he have any way of sensing when something cosmic is going to happen? Something of... some big threat to the multiverse exists, or is it more kind of?
He's got interdimensional communication with other versions of himself in different dimensions. Mm-hmm. So he might get warnings, on the interdimensional cell phone from those guys. But that's pretty much it.
Great. So why don't we say that he received the kind of a cryptic warning from one of his other selves? The connection was kind of lost. You're not sure exactly what it was, but there was portents of something big happening sometime in the next few months or in the next few years. You're not sure, but it seemed to center in this particular dimension and in the city of Del Rey, right? So wherever you were before this, you've come to Del Rey to kind of be vigilant about that potential threat. And that means you've been investigating whatever has happened to come up and, to make sure that it's not tied to this threat that you got. And maybe we can say that in that you've called together, you've met the other characters, the Cowl, Mistress Mysteria, Brunt, and have kind of convinced them to be kind of, working with you. Does that work? Does that make sense?
It does. Two things. We should pause before we get too far. We wanted to make sure we mentioned the Super's Red Discord up front while people are still paying attention, because I think we wanted to promote that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Alice, can you tell people how they can find that if they'd like to?
Sure. The Super's Red Discord is currently posted on the Super's Facebook page. And it's also posted in the official Super's Red forums.
Cool. So yeah, check it out. We're going to try to do a lot more gaming there, and Super's Red is a great system, so check it out, meet other fans. Did we lose Alice?
Yep, there she is.
Okay, sorry,
I thought by accident.
Oh, no worries. So yeah, I'm cool with everyone being a team as long as we can call them something nifty like Team Awesome Force. And
don't we have that copyrighted on the show?
Yeah, you're probably right. Sorry, it's a inside joke, I suppose. From that's what they call themselves on Killjoys, isn't it? Yeah, never mind.
Yeah.
Bad joke.
Use it.
Yeah. All right. So we're hanging out, patrolling, doing superhero stuff. Going out for lunch, being bored by my stories about Howard Hughes, and generally trying to thwart evil.
There you go. All right. So it's on one such patrol where you may be on a rooftop, finishing one of those Howard Hughes stories, trying to figure out how to get out of that situation. When you, all of you, one of you, however you want to play it out, see a series of police cars rushing to a scene. There are 4 police cars, sirens blaring, headed towards the western part of the city, right? Which is towards the western part of the city.
Are we friendly with police, or are we persecuted in the Superverse?
That depends on what you want. You can fall on any spectrum of depending on how you see it, right?
I would like to be friendly with police.
Okay, so if you're friendly, so you can be.
Okay.
Let's just go with that.
So I would at that point like to teleport into the back seat of one of the police cars.
All right, you've got yeah, go ahead.
A dimensional portal opens up, I step through, and as I drop into the seat in the back of the police car, the phantom of a circus tent, a black and white striped circus tent, appears behind me and disappears.
Okay, very, very cool. You're in the back seat of a police car? Is that where you teleported to?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, great. All right, so
And I'd like to find out what's going on.
Yeah. So, tell you what, go ahead and well, based on the effect that you just described, is that loud? Would the cops the police officers automatically notice that you were appearing in their car, or might they actually miss that fact, and you'd have to kind of say hello?
I have to tap them on the shoulder. Which is my intention.
All right. Let's they get do you tap the driver or do you tap his partner?
I tap his partner.
This partner, okay.
I don't want to distract the driver and scare him.
All right. So, he was, so he turns at being touched and then gets taken aback for a moment. And then let's see, why don't you go ahead and make do you have presence on your character sheet?
I don't have my character sheet yet, still awaiting that.
Oh,
but,
Walt, does she have presence?
Hold on. She has presence and performance.
All right, what's her presence? What are her dice and presence?
Presence is 2D.
All right, go ahead and roll 2D.
Sure. And I will say, officer, where exactly is the problem? What's going on? And sorry, and let me go and do something real quick. Did you want us to just use real life dice?
Yeah, you can use real life dice that's fine.
Okay, I'll go grab some real quick.
Okay.
So as she disappears,
yes.
at the end of the story, chasing that I get up and I'm looking at the tent and I'm like, I hate it when she did that. And so I look down at the ground and look for a place that there's nobody standing, and I'm just going to jump off the roof, meld into the pavement, and using my tremor sense start just trying to follow where the cop cars are going.
Nice. Okay, very cool. Why don't you go ahead and roll tremor sense? It's a pretty easy roll. You know the vibrations you're trying to pick up, and you can see the direction they are to get kind of oriented at first. So go ahead and roll.
I got an 8.
Perfect. Not a problem. So you can do that.
I got a 9 on my presence.
Okay. So the gentleman you tap turns around, looks shocked, and then he kind of has a face of relief. You know.
How can I be of service?
Huh? Okay.
I ask him, and how can I be of service?
Lady, you got to be careful. He says, of service. Yeah, we got a call down for Stellar Labs. Something happened at Stellar Labs. The whole place apparently has been shut down. And that, we don't know what we're going to find when we get there, but it I don't know.
I don't know.
We're kind of on high alert. Okay, she says, and then we can just teleport out of the car.
Yeah, I'm going to relay on my comms. They're heading to Stellar Labs, and then since we're apparently a team, and then I'll teleport out again.
Okay, perfect. All right, and you do. Okay, what about Captain Battle and the Cowl? How are you guys responding to this?
I'll let Walt go first.
If they hit me up on comms, I am putting on my, getting up from my desk, putting on my suit jacket, entering the magical Cowl elevator, and getting into costume to do my thing, and I will drive the car and meet them there.
Okay, perfect. And Captain Battle.
Can I use my dimensional portals thing to get there more quickly? Like open a hole in this dimension and then I guess it doesn't really work, does it? I could just open a hole in the. What do you say, GM? Can you do that, or should I just start jogging that way?
So you want to open a portal to a different step into a different dimension and then step back out in that spot in the Stellar Labs.
That seems kind of flaky, though, right? Well, why don't I just call an Uber?
Oh my god! And this is why Mike is always the fan favorite.
I think he retired.
Maybe. Do they have one of those scooters? Have one of those lift scooters?
Please tell me you were going to give him a temporary competency test.
Yeah.
I'll just sling my hand on my back, find one of those lift scooters, and just head towards Stellar Labs to meet up with everybody.
Okay, that we can do that. That's good. That's good. And yeah, sure. You can have a competency dice for that. Although you don't need them. But
I got way too many as it is, I think. So.
Yeah.
All right. Sounds good.
Okay. So, Mr. Sumsteria, you're going to arrive first. You're going to arrive first. The others will be close behind. But what you see immediately when you arrive is Stellar Labs is kind of a it's got a kind of a concrete base that has the walls kind of slant up in almost like a pyramidal kind of shape, and then it goes up from there, and your kind of typical kind of glass building up about 5 stories, but with of course concrete supports and all of that. But basically you're looking at about a 10-story building. And one of the things that you notice when you arrive is that normally in the front and the facade of the front facade of the building, there would be a kind of a lobby area that you can see through the glass and stuff, but that has been sealed by what look like blast doors that have come up from the ground and have like sealed off the whole front of the building, right? You're not sure about the other sides of the building, but basically it looks like the first floor has been, and you didn't know that the blast doors existed. You've probably been by here before. I mean, this is a part of the city where it's near the research park that's over by the Kings Bay Park area of the city. It's got if you're going to any of the planetarium or any of the other exhibits in the park, you'd probably walk right by this building. You've probably seen the front of it before. You never thought that there were these kind of hidden blast doors that could come up and block the building, but there they are, right? And
so you mentioned that we are on the edge of a park. Where are we located?
I'm sorry?
That we're on the edge of a park.
On the edge of a park, yeah. So the Kings Bay Park is kind of like, it's a park the size of like, something like Central Park or something like that. It's a really, really big deal. It's got a zoo, it's got museums, it's got other things like that. This is sort of on the periphery of that park, not facing the park, but facing a cross street just off the park, right?
Okay. As I arrive then, I will turn around to the park. I see there is a swing set with nobody on it. I will reach out to it. The filaments on my gloves lift off and shoot in that direction. One of the swing sets, one of the seats of it comes off of it into the fade to me. And it comes to me and it turns into a pillow. I hop on and I fly up to scouting.
And you fly up where?
I fly up to around the building and start scouting around the building since the majority of it is glass.
Okay, perfect.
And I have information to give them when they get here.
Perfect. Do you have awareness?
About to check. Hold on one sec.
Yeah. Brunt, you're not too far behind. You'll probably, once she comes back from doing the scan of the building, she'll probably be coming back to where she started right when you're arriving at the building. And Cal, you're arriving on the scene right around the same time as Brunt.
I just give him the elevator face like Uber, really.
Well, the Uber was about to show up. Brunt merges out of the ground. It's shortly after that the Uber will show up.
I got 11 on the awareness check, and can we top off that Uber thing with the fact that the Uber driver was also on the way to deliver some really stinky Indian food or something too?
Sure.
Yeah,
He steps out.
I like that.
All right.
So I got a question. With a 12 on my investigation, what do I know about this place? As a major lab in the area, I'm certain I've had to look into something around them.
Yeah, and you rolled a 12.
Yep.
All right.
And I rolled an 11 on the awareness check.
On the awareness check, yeah. So I'll get to your 11 in a moment. This is something that Brunt is thinking about as he's kind of like, on route. He's thinking, what do I know about this place?
Yep.
And you know that Stellar Labs was founded by, I should have her name at my fingertips, but hang on a second. But I don't, because I didn't have time to review this before then. But was founded by a former astronaut, one of the first female astronauts, who then suffered. She basically, when she retired, she started this R&D firm. They specialize in things having to do with space science, right? That might be anything from spaceship design to space exploration. They have, they do, like studying objects recovered from space, things like that. They run the full gamut of that. That their stock is up and coming, and that they have a lot of connections with the kind of educational institutes in the region, and in particular, they have some ties to a kind of a futurist foundation called the Apex Foundation. Okay.
As the cowl comes up and gives me the nod, I'm like, I wonder if they got a space rocket.
I just nod again.
Space rock.
Space rock. Got it. And what do you plan to do with this space rock?
Well, I ain't been in contact with a space rock before. All sorts of Earth rocks. Anyways, what's the trouble going on?
At that point, the Uber is coming up, and Mistress Mysteria comes from around the other side of the building, having done her reconnaissance. And also, right behind the Uber, actually right before the Ubers, the police cars are showing up right before the Uber arrives, and they're they're setting up a perimeter, right? Mistress Mysterio, when you went around the building, you saw, you didn't see anything untoward. No. There's a parking garage on the other side of this building. Would you have gone into that parking garage?
I want to see if it's empty. Yes.
Okay, so if you did go into the parking garage and you notice something that you might want to report, and that is that everything looks fine, except that when you go to the lower level of the parking garage and kind of like the service area that's apart from where the other vehicles park, there is a big hole in the side of the, basically in the service area. Somebody pounded through, or something pounded through what looks like reinforced concrete, and just pounded through the wall and apparently exited into the parking garage at that ground floor level. And whatever, something emerged from inside because the debris is out in the parking garage itself, right? So It's very easy to tell which way it came. So you're armed with that information.
Okay. Why don't we introduce the person in the Uber, and then I'll relay this information the way that I think.
Okay. All right. So the Uber pulls up, right? Again, you see the police cars with their lights flashing. You see your teammates standing like right on the edge of the perimeter that's been created by the police. They're talking about space rocks and whatnot, and the Uber guy just says, "Here's your stop."
Howdy, team. I need to apologize. I now smell like curry. And hey, while we're talking, I wanted to welcome A. Marchin, is our first subscriber on Twitch. So hey, A. Marchin.
All right. Hello.
Hello.
Battle.
Howdy.
So when Mistress Mysteria comes down, she's going to send that swing back to where it was, and then she's going to look at Brunt. I don't suppose you had another night terror last night?
I don't get those. You must have heard that about somebody else. The cowl, I think he's got all sorts of demons he wrestles with in the night. A real night thrasher, that guy.
I just want to point out, we do not challenge the copyright of Night Thrasher. Thank you.
All right.
I forgot about Night Thrasher.
He's a guy with a nightstick on a skateboard. How do you forget that?
Yeah. New Warriors.
Mondays are kind of a blur, man. I don't...
The building's in lockdown, and in the garage, there's a big hole. Something that, like how you would break through. It broke through from the inside and broke out.
Oh,
Something
no,
huge.
mistress. I'm a smooth operator. I'd just kind of flow through that stuff.
Something that
I'm
looks
going
like
to give
it
him a
would.
temporary competency die for that performance. I will.
You got it. Competency die it is.
Well, something that bashed through the wall down in the service entrance. Everything else is on lockdown, but there's a big exit hole.
I was a private eye, so I know. If there's a big hole, maybe something went through it. We should go look.
I think that's a good idea.
All right.
I'll meet you there.
All right. As you guys are having that discussion, you notice that the perimeter has been created, been set by the police, and there's a couple of there are a couple of officers that are going in either direction around the building. Looks like they're checking the perimeter, so you know that they're going to end up, they're going to end up in that area if you let them go about their business.
Well, the reason why I said I'll meet you in that area is I was going to go look for the captain, and I'm going to inform him that they should stay out of the garage.
Okay.
And I can just teleport to the area to meet them.
Yes. Okay. The captain's actually showing up a little after the other cars, and actually, if you guys are friendly with the police, you know him as Captain Jose Cano is his name. I have an image of him. I can drop it into there he is. Let's see. All right, here he goes. All right, so that's him. All right, and he is actually
like a young Jonah Jameson.
Jonah James was very young.
Actually, I think I'm not 100% sure, but I think that Joe was going for Ricardo Montalban. I think he didn't deny it when I told him that I thought that's what he went for. But anyway, so you know him as the head of the Super Crimes Unit, which specifically responds to criminal activity with superpowered people, right? And he steps out, and right around the same time that he arrives, you see there's an SCU kind of SWAT band pulling up as well, and there's and those men are getting out of their vehicle as well. But if you teleport next to Kano, he looks over at you when you pull up, and he's like, Mistress Mysteria.
Captain Kano, we're on it, but I'd suggest you keep your men out of the garage, and especially the lower levels. Whatever we're dealing with is very, very large, and I do not want any of your people trampled. But rest assured, once we have them sedated, or whatever it is, we will turn them over to you.
Excellent. Let me ask you a question. Do you need support from Dutton and his men in any way? We will, of course, defer to your expertise on this, but if you need any support, let us know.
At the moment, just set up an exterior perimeter is enough.
Very well. So be it. And he calls out some orders and makes that happen. He calls the men back that were heading back there, and they return to their vehicles, and you guys are clear to move on your own.
Okay. And I'll be going with them, so they can go and head down.
Okay. All right. So you guys are approaching the hole that Mrs. Mysteria found, or is there anything else? Yes, Mike.
Through the magic of the internet, I am right now talking to our viewer, A. Marchin, who was slightly late joining, was wondering if we could reintroduce the characters so they would know.
Oh, sure, of course.
Okay. I'm playing Captain Battle, who's kind of a Captain America type. Alice, do you want to go next?
I am playing Mistress Mysteria, who is a circus-themed mystic, and I'll screen share my character portrait in a moment. Next, Brandon.
I'm playing Private Detective Robert Brunt. I was in a tragic accident that has given me this rocky earthly form, but it allows me to do amazing things once I was given purpose as a superhero.
Oh my God, I am so paling in comparison to the acting chops of both you guys. I am playing the Cowl, guy who got beat up, woke up years later, and became not Batman.
All right, perfect. Is that good?
Yep, I think that works. And currently, we're investigating some trouble at Stellar Labs. Is that a fair summary of where we are now?
That is a fair summary of where you are. The building is in lockdown, like blast doors have sealed off the first floor. Mistress Mysteria has found a section in the service area of the parking garage where the wall has been compromised, apparently from the inside, and you guys are heading off to investigate what all that is.
To just sum up, Walt, he also woke up as not Night Thresh.
That is true, although I might or might not have a skateboard in the back of the car.
So how are you guys approaching the did we lose?
We lost, and now he's
we
back.
lost Mike for a sec, but yeah,
Okay.
he's coming back, it sounds like. But no video yet.
So anything special that you guys are doing as you approach that hole that you found?
I'm gonna try and focus in on the magic of Gaia and use my tremor sense to feel around the hole as we're getting close to it. Also, with my eyes, I'd like to be just kind of looking around and investigating for anything.
All right, good. Give me an investigation roll. And give me a tremor sense roll. 2 separate rolls.
I got 10 tremor sense and 8 investigation.
Okay, 10 tremor sense and 8 investigation. All right. The investigation, you don't know if it means anything, but as you guys are heading through the parking garage and towards the hole, you see some freshly made skid marks, as if a vehicle pulled out of a parking space near the service area and peeled out, and they're fresh, okay, relatively so. So that you notice as you're walking up to the hole. With the tremor sense, you rolled really well. So right around the door, you don't, or not the door, but the hole, you don't notice anything in particular. However, you felt, you think you felt at the very, very extreme, sort of like deep in the complex, at the very extreme edge of your tremor sense, something heavy make contact with the ground, something that you would guess might weigh something like 500 or 600 pounds at least.
As
Okay.
we're walking towards the hole, I'm like, I wonder if it was a big gorilla or something that broke out of here. Well, I'm just saying, because of all the bananas that have been left around, because then I pointed to skid marks, somebody's been appealing.
Okay, another competency dice. That was a perfect setup. Oh my god,
your powers of dad jokes are amazing.
Hey, can anyone hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Mike. I'm sorry.
You just missed the you might have to give up your crown as far as cheesy jokes goes.
I'm happy to pass that on. It's cool.
Getting too old for it anyway.
Well, I have a kid, so at least there's that. But yeah, it's. Oh, hey, Aid Smith is watching us now. How you doing, Aid?
Oh, hey.
The man.
Greetings. What is up with your monitor's operations, though? Because I went to go look, went to the Twitch channel, and a bunch of us are coming in as blue. Brandon's very red shirt is coming in as very neon blue.
I noticed that too. Here's the strength. You guys look fine, natural color on my actual monitor. On the Twitch stream, you're all blue. I don't understand it. I want to make a Wonka joke, but I don't have one. Let me go over to OBS, the broadcast software. Maybe there's some visual settings I can fiddle with there. So,
do the blues taste like blueberries?
Yeah, and like I said, later on you might want to get it installed in your Ubuntu because the desktop app has built-in integration for Twitch, and it works a lot better. So.
Oh yeah, we should. Okay,
We'll worry about it another time, like I said. Okay.
Sounds great.
All right. So after
Plus, I look like Mystique in that, so can't argue with Mystique.
So after the appealing comment, what do you guys do? How do you guys approach the situation?
Well, if at that point I've had time to teleport to meet up with them.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah. So you're all basically in front of this hole, or very near the. And Brunt just made the comment that he made, which was a joke, but also an observation, shared information. And then, what you going to do?
Well, I would like to essentially detect for mystical energies and such like that, anything that might have created or transformed this that wasn't just pure science.
Okay. What ability do you have what power do you have to do that?
I have 5 dice in wizardry. I also have.
That will do it.
Okay.
Yeah, you can use that to cast, basically configure or detect magic spell, essentially, or something like that.
Yes.
Right? That's not a problem. So go ahead and roll your 5 dice.
Okay. So so I extend my arms out, and the embroidery on my wrists comes off my sleeves, and it starts to paste itself as runes, like decor, but runes along the opening that is in front of us. $17. Oh,
17.
sorry.
Okay. 18. Okay, you are confident that you successfully cast that spell. It's working like a charm. However, you're not detecting anything supernatural about the situation.
Okay. Is there, and I would like to at that point utilize the runes that I have now implanted on that surface to basically try and turn back time in a holographic fashion to see what came through.
Very interesting. Very cool. Go ahead and so you're doing a precognition, right? Go ahead and sorry, huh? Postcognition. Postcognition. Yes, you're right. Go ahead and make another roll for me, and let's let me know. Yeah, just let me know what you get.
I just got a simple question. Did it go in or did it come out?
12.
12. Okay. All right, so you're going to notice two things. All right, two notable things with secondary details as well. But basically, you see that wall. You turn it. I guess you see this backwards, right?
Yep.
So you see.
And it plays in front of everyone because I'm not obfuscating.
Right.
I'm basically turning the wheel.
Right. Yeah. So I'm going to show you an image of the being that you saw do this. Let me see if I can get her really quick. There she is. All right. Let me drop this into. Darn it. Come on. My mouse is being tricky. All right, here she is. Okay, so I'm about to drop. You see this being move backward into the hole, right? Because of the way that your spell works. All right.
Oh my God, it's Taylor Swift. There's nothing was wrong with that girl.
Exactly.
That's what she wakes up like before the makeup.
What you made her do?
Please give them a confidence in Tyson or that one.
I'll just keep setting them up, man. That's
Well, I have a tendency to set him up for bad dad jokes, and that's the dynamic of this relationship. I'm snarky. He does the bad jokes.
It's beautiful. It's great.
They're not bad.
You don't keep me around for my looks.
So I wonder, can you see that on the stream? Can viewers see that? How would we describe that character? Just trying to.
Yeah.
It's like Marrow
see
from the X-Men, but it's stone and spiky instead.
Okay,
It's
yeah.
actually. It's actually. So it's a hulking woman that looks like she's actually made of iron, right? And her joints, wherever her joints bend, right, it looks like the iron's becoming hot and molten, right? Which allows her to move, and it looks like, in fact, that she's got that fist that looks like a mace, right, or a morning star, and that looks like it's made of molten metal, molten iron, right? And then it will heat. You see it. You see it this backwards, but apparently she punched the wall multiple times with that fist, and it was like solid iron, but then just gray, and then it turned into that kind of like molten form, and then turned into just a normal hand, and she moved through. She looks like she's like 7 feet tall. She's got iron spikes that are coming out of her shoulders and her elbows and her hair. She doesn't have hair, but she has spikes that make it kind of look like hair on top of her head. She is wearing a one-piece blue suit that somehow doesn't seem to be affected by the molten quality of the sometimes molten quality of her skin. And the other thing that you notice, in addition to just that, is that she is carrying something on her back, and it looks like it's been strapped to her back by basically morphed like she's morphed and stretched her body to create kind of restraints that have like she's wearing this thing almost like a backpack. And that thing looks kind of like you remember in Star Trek II, the photon torpedo when they fire Spock out, right? That kind of like rounded cornered kind of capsule, right? Black capsule. It looks kind of like that. It's kind of a sleek metal capsule that does look like it has some doohickeys and doodads along kind of like a band around the edges of it. And she looks like she's carrying that sucker out of the building.
I look at Cowl
And
point out.
quick question. Is this what you show us, or you only see it?
It would be manifesting for everyone to see. It's a hologram rewinding. So
Yeah.
I look at Cowl and point at the torpedo-like items on her back.
I just nod, pull up what looks like a clear piece of plastic, start fiddling with it so it turns on. Kind of looks like the clear cell phone that Tony Stark had in Iron Man 2.
Mm-hmm.
Start going through. So I have I have an advantage. I have 1D as occupation in my secret identity. I am the CEO of Valkyrie Industries, which is a huge tech firm. I also have 2D in technology. Would I be able to roll either that, the occupation, or my 4D specialty in emergent sciences under my academia aptitude?
Yes. Okay, so go ahead and roll. Yeah, do the emergent technologies roll. What were the other ones? You said you had the occupation.
I have the occupation as a CEO of a tech company.
Right. So I will let you roll, because with the occupation, right, it allows you to re-roll again, right?
Yep.
So yes, you can. If you don't make it with the first roll, you can definitely use it. Case.
All right, so I'm going to go use the 4D.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I'll use 4D, and under the aptitude rules in Super's revised edition, can't tell this is this is our game at all. So under those rules, because it's an aptitude and not a power, I get to roll the 4 dice, but only keep 3.
Right.
And I am taking real dice and rolling. And we have numbers on the dice. So I have 2 4s, a 5, and a 2. I am discarding the 2. And then I am keeping the 2 4s and a 5.
All right. Perfect.
So 13.
Perfect. Okay.
Can I tell what this is?
Yeah. So it is. Yes, it is a. Essentially, it's a containment pod that is designed to keep a subject under in a controlled environment. And the doohickeys and doodads along the edge of it are there to be able to plug up various diagnostic tools or whatnot and study, probe, prod, observe, and control the environment that the thing is in. So you have yeah, and it has multiple applications. This is something Stellar Labs, or whoever brought this to Stellar Labs, would have purchased from a manufacturer that uses it in various applications. You don't know exactly what it could be. All number of things that they would have in there that they would be experimenting with. So there, you can apply it to biological sciences. You can apply it to radioactive materials. You can apply it to all sorts of things. You have to crack it open to see how it's exactly configured.
So the most important question of all, could this be reconfigured to construct the perfect cappuccino? Not at all. Okay.
No.
I relay my findings to the team.
Okay.
So where would you get something like that? Like is it from Japan or something?
It is the mystic image that she's pushing out toward all of us.
No, he's asking in character, where would you get a machine like that? In Japan or something?
Right. Well,
Yeah.
I'm gonna take that, and I'm gonna play off of it.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna say how can your mystic image, that the mystical hologram that you're portraying, can you stick your fingers in like this, like on a cell phone screen, go like that, and then it becomes zooms in? Can we zoom in? Can we see more detail? Maybe get a manufacturer on it?
I'm afraid it doesn't work that way.
Well, actually, with your position and you might be able to eyeball it.
It is 3-dimensional, so yeah, people can.
Yeah.
So I'll try and get a place of origin to see maybe what kind of model they bought and what they might want to store in it. And while we're doing that, I turn around to everybody and say, do we have someone who might be able to be cordial enough to talk to the lab owner, or maybe a CEO or what have you, and figure out what was taken so we can help?
Well, I am an American icon.
I vote him. I point at him, looking a bit relieved.
Oh, by all means, I don't mind talking to people, but sometimes they ain't like to talk to the rocks.
So, American Icon it is. Can you go flash a smile and figure out what was taken and whether or not they even want us to help?
Yeah, sure. Are the executives going to be on site this time of day?
Well,
nighttime or daytime?
It is. I'm sorry, I should have specified that at the beginning. It is nighttime right now. So there's they're not there. You're not sure who's in the building. You're not sure. Yeah, but it is after hours. So unless people are working late and whatnot, they're probably not here. They'll probably have been notified of the situation and are probably en route. If
Is
all
the
things being normal.
Is the security guard an older guy?
You haven't seen a security guard.
Can I walk in the lobby and see if there's a security guard?
Well, remember the lobby area has been shut down by a there was a blast door that came down and blocked off the whole lobby area.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Yeah.
All
By
right,
the way,
so,
yeah, go ahead.
We just lose
Walt.
somebody?
I'm sorry, Walt. I wanted to follow up on your question about make. You're pretty sure that the device that they were using is probably Sutek make. Stanton United Technologies make. Brunt, by the way, not that he's shared that, but that's the scientist that you were, investigating when you had your accident, was also working for. It was also a Sutek employee.
I nudge Brunt. Do one of these, hey, buddy, you check it.
Did we lose Brunt?
I'm right here.
I just don't.
You're not moving.
I don't see your video anymore.
Yeah, I see.
Let me come
The power of the on-off button.
Yeah,
there we go.
There you go.
There's movement. Rocks move. Get used to it.
I'm afraid motion sensors are still just not capturing your elegant, smooth operating.
It's that I have learned to be so still that I turn invisible.
Well, they have said that motion sensors are racist.
Oh, I look at that and I'm like, oh, as I see the company that.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know something about them?
If you could get a charge on them, you'd get a lot of them. Let's just say.
So they're shady operators, then, eh?
I like that. It makes it sound like G-Men are after them.
And
Top men.
why would Stellar Labs have something of theirs?
That's a good question.
So,
Something
Stellar
for our
Labs
American icon to ask.
and this company, are they cordial with each other? They're in competition? I got 14 on the investigation. Since I've previously investigated one of these companies at least.
Absolutely. Based on they're actually very much rival companies. In many ways. Stanton United or Sutek doesn't really do the kind of work directly that there's some overlap, but they are definitely rival companies for sure.
These two ain't likely to be in bed, so industrial espionage, trying to take something apart, put it back together for their own makings, just maybe kidnapping. That looks like a poison.
I look closer at the container. Does it look like it could fit a child?
No, not that. What's carrying it?
The container is big enough
I
to
look
carry.
shocked at you. They wouldn't do that to someone.
Big money. Believe me, I had more than a few companies come up to me after I took on my current countenance.
But that was after.
Luckily, I'm big and I could tell them no. Keep them at arm's reach.
I start bolting into the building at that point, and I'm going to start looking for anywhere people might be held inside the, for experimental purposes, like a Jason Bourne training lab.
So she overcome with a concern for that. She actually like bolts in. You said like she runs.
I bolted and start looking for a wing like the Jason Bourne training wing.
Okay.
Hey, mistress, watch it. There's something big down there.
So you're in a long, narrow, now somewhat eerie looking service corridor.
I've dominated a bit. If you want to go and let the others do, because I think people want to talk to people and such, you can pause me out for a moment.
Okay. Yeah, and you're. Well, I'll ask folks if they have anything they want to do, but you're the one that's taking this immediate action, right?
Yeah.
So it's a long, narrow service corridor. It's actually lit by emergency lights at this point. So that makes it even a little bit more eerie. It's kind of running lights along the floor or along the ceiling, and there are closed doors, normal doors, not blast doors or anything like that, but normal doors along the corridor, and then about 100 feet, 150, 120 feet in, it ends at a T intersection, and you're bolting down in that direction. I don't know if you're checking any doors, but while she's doing that, are there any actions that the rest of you are going to take? Are you going to follow along with her, or are you going to do something else?
Well, I've got a suspicion that this situation will be best resolved through immediate action. So rather than looking up the CEO and going to his house and knocking on his door and giving him my business card, I'm going to follow my teammate into the building and make sure someone's watching her back.
Okay, all right. So you're right with her. Are the rest of you following along?
Same.
Okay.
I'm going to spin my head around on my rocky body. It does a full 360 as I just look and see if any cops are watching us. And I'm like, I could get my license taken away for something like this. And then drop into.
Okay.
I will be right back. Someone's at the door.
Sure. You got it.
I am, as I'm bolting, though, going to do one more thing to ensure long-term stability there. Is the floor carpeted or tiled?
The floor's tiled.
Okay. So I am going to reach the lacing on my arms down, and it's going to shoot off and lift off one of the marble tiles, and it's going to turn into a pillow, and I'm going to scoot it, just pop on underneath, and I'm going to be flying down the hall.
Okay. Very cool. Very, very cool. All right. Perfect. Okay. So you guys are heading down the you're going to go all the way to the T? To the end of the corridor where it kind of tees in two directions?
Yeah, I'm looking for, right now it looks like basic offices, right? Or right now it's we're in a service corridor, so it'd be down into storage areas, right?
Yeah, exactly. Storage, closet, yeah, that sort of.
Well, actually, I guess the type of place I'm looking for could be down here, so I would be throwing doors open to look to see if there's anything.
Okay. So you throw open doors, the first few doors, I don't know if you're going to go in. Obvious, there's no people or anything like that. Obvious. If you're going to go in and rummage around some of the containers, but throwing the doors open, you don't see anything, of note. All right. About halfway down the corridor, maybe 2/3 of the way down the corridor, make awareness rolls, all of you. If you've got the.
Am I able to use my tremor sense?
In this case, no, actually. But you if you don't have awareness, you can roll 1 die anyway, and if you've got some dice as well if you wanted to burn. Although those are better for dramatic situations, I guess. But yeah, you in supers, all superheroes have at least 1 die in every aptitude, and then the ones on your character sheet are just the ones that you've bought up above the base.
I got a 6.
I got a 10.
Good.
I got a 3.
Okay, good. Those of you who rolled 6 or better, you hear a whining noise coming from the corridor, coming from in front of you, which means probably from one or the other side of the one or the other T passages that T's in the other direction. Alice, you can tell that it's coming from both because you rolled really, really well. Right? So there are Brunt hears a whining sound. You hear multiple whining sounds.
Biologic
And similar
or
to
mechanical?
Batman, the cowl hears no whining.
Biological or mechanical whining?
Mechanical. It's like a whirring sound.
Okay.
If you're going to take an action, like an immediate action, will that what's causing it'll become known in just a second. You have like a second to respond or a couple seconds to respond before the what's causing him is upon you.
I at that point would pause to try and figure out what it is. So bring it on.
Okay, great. So
I'm gonna, if the walls of stone were underground right now, I'm gonna merge into it.
Okay, yeah, they're concrete walls. So you're going to merge into the concrete wall?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. All right. So,
Mike just came back, so if you can give him a quick recap.
Yeah. So they were heading down the corridor. Whoops, we just lost somebody. Mike? There he is. Well, he's coming back.
Problem with the web browser option is that you can easily drop out,
Yeah. Yeah, we'll just give him a second and then. There he is.
Hey,
Welcome
can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Just in the nick of time. So what happened is they started heading down the corridor. Mistress Mysteria started opening doors to make sure there weren't, people kind of held in, in there and stuff, but they didn't go into any of the rooms. They kept going down about 2/3 down the hallway. Mistress Mysteria and Brunt heard whining sounds coming or whirring sounds coming from down the hall where the section T's, where the end of the corridor where the T's off. And so Brunt melded into the concrete wall, and Mistress Mysteria just that kind of like stands ready, and from either side, from either quarter that T's off of this one come 6 drones, hovering drones, and one group of 3 comes from around the corner and kind of flies about 10 feet down the corridor and then stops and hovers in place. And you guys get the sense that they're like looking at you, right? It's and then another group of 3 comes up from behind that, and they're both kind of whirring in the hall. And then you hear a metallic sound that basically says, "Unauthorized intruders, retreat! Retreat! Leave the building!"
I show him my identification card and say, "You don't understand, that's an American icon."
Unauthorized intruders, retreat! Leave the building!
Okay, I guess it's time to punch things then, right?
If that's what you choose to do.
Hell yeah.
All right. Give me an initiative roll. So that's going to be, you're going to roll your reaction. Unless there are other options. You can use various things for so you've had super speed, which none of you do, I don't think. You can roll that. You could actually, I think, roll awareness as well for initiative if you decided, right? So whichever of those is your highest, you can go ahead and roll that.
I have a 12.
22.
All right.
8.
16.
Ooh. 22 for Brent?
Yep.
Wait, what did you roll?
My reaction is 5 dice. Is that supposed to be my fortitude?
That's supposed to be your fortitude. My bad.
I thought I was a smooth operator.
I thought you were referencing the melding power when you said you were a smooth operator. But yeah, I'm sorry. That's supposed to be your fortitude.
I pictured it kind of like maybe Sandman or something. Was your thought on that?
Right. Well, if you preferred that configuration, you could take it. I don't mind.
I'm good with the fortitude.
Okay. All right. So
they're going to stay alive and move fast.
Yeah. So Captain Battle, you got a 12, right?
Yes, got 12.
Cowl?
16.
16, nice. Mistress Mysteria? 8. And Brunt?
I have lost 15 off of what I thought was my score. I am now a 7.
7. All right, let me roll for these things. Ooh, they rolled really, 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 really crappy. It's amazing how crappy they rolled. All right, so they rolled a 5. So, Cowl, you are first.
I am going to try and hack them.
Oh, interesting. What are you going to use for that?
I have a utility belt,
Mm-hmm.
and I am going to try and use the telepathy power with the mind control subset.
Yeah,
So I'm
perfect.
going to basically pull out a hacking module from my belt.
Mm-hmm.
And try and do that. So first, I'm going to try and replicate the power at all 5 dice.
Mm-hmm.
So, wizardry. Thank God for indexed PDFs, because they are magic. Oops. Unless you press the wrong button, in which case your indexing sucks. So, to use all 5 dice, I need a 15.
15, that's right.
So, 10. I got 10. There he is right there. I got 10, 11, 13, 17.
17. So you got the configuration correct.
Okay.
And now you're making an attack, right?
Correct. So I'm going to use all 5 dice and try and hack the systems. So for my attack roll, I got 16.
Oh, 16. Okay. All right. Let me see. All right, sir. I rolled. Now these are mooks, so they are. It's 2 groups of 3.
Gotcha.
Right.
So I'll attack the first group.
Yes. However, I rolled 17 on the die.
Oof.
Okay. So you go in and you're hacking and you realize that the systems are very sophisticated. Give me additionally. Give me a You have a technology. You have the emergent technology. Give me that as a kind of like a the equivalent of an investigation roll. It's kind of like on the side, but go ahead.
All right. So that's right there, my roll. So I got 2 5s, a 4, and then a 1. I'm discarding the 1. So 14.
14. Okay. So you thought you had it hacked, and then it seemed like there was
a counter hack.
A counter hack by somebody else that screwed up your attempt.
Filthy.
Maybe you had a premature authorization.
All right.
No, it writes itself.
Captain Battle, it's your turn.
I would like to.
Oh wait, you're muted, I think.
Yeah, he's muted.
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
All right. Can I do kind of a power stunt, swing my hammer wide arc, and try to hit many of these as I can?
Yeah. So you want to do like an area? You want to use a you have a couple of competency dice. You want to use one of them to get the area effect?
Yeah, sure. I've got 6D in super weapon for the hammer.
Yeah, it's not going to be a good day for them.
All right, so I'll roll 66 competency die for next time. All right. I'm using the random.org die roller. And,
okay, that's cool.
Because hang on. Okay, so I got. Wait a second. Number 6, not 4. Okay, I didn't roll great. There's 6, there's 9, there's 13, 14, 15, 18 altogether.
All right. So, and you did below the competition area effect, right?
I'm sorry, what?
You did decide to blow the competency dice for the area effect?
Yes, please. Yes.
Okay, perfect. And you said an 18 total?
Yep, that's correct.
Okay, let's see here. So with the area effect, you can actually hit all 6 drones. It's like are you throwing it? Are you leaping into their midst? Around? How are you doing the attack?
That sounds great. Let's do that. I'll just jump in the middle and sit around like I'm Linda Carter doing the Wonder Woman transformation. Hold the hammer at arm's length.
Perfect.
In that same suit?
No.
Okay, so this is what happens. In the first group of mooks, you swing your hammer around and you destroy 2 of the 3 drones, right? Like just, bash right through them, pieces flying everywhere. The drone that was kind of hovering on top kind of like zips up and avoids that attack, and it looks like it's kind of aiming itself down towards you. And then with the second group of drones, you got 1 of them, and the other 2 were at the kind of the periphery of your swing, so they were able to just kind of yank back and avoid that. So you've got 2 drones left in one group and 1 drone left in. All right, and with that, we are at Mistress Mysteria.
Okay, you said that Stellar Labs was built in the shape of a pyramid as a building. Is that correct?
Sort of on the first couple of floors, like the first 2 or 3 floors, it's got kind of like pyramidal kind of shape. But then from there, it's kind of like an office building that just goes straight up.
Okay, so a circus magician's top hat appears in one hand, and a staff appears in my other. I spin around, and so that my back is to one of the drones. A metal flap comes up behind me. All of a sudden, the other 3 flaps come up, so I'm basically encased in a pyramid. It opens up, and I'm going to shoot scarves at all of the drones to blind them.
Okay, cool. So, are you using your...
I'm going to start with a wizardry check to see how many dice I get out of this.
Exactly. And the way it works is you declare how many dice you want. And
I want 5.
You want 5? Okay, so
yes.
if you fail the roll, you have to get 15.
I made that. I made that by a lot.
Okay, perfect. So you're able to cast it, and then go ahead and you're shooting scarves to blind them, right? So is that we'll count that as like a dazzle attack.
One of my dice are on the floor.
I think that's what we call it. 16. And by the way, you're
I rolled lower on that than the original check. I rolled a 23 on the other check.
So there are kind of 2 groupings of drones. You've got kind of 2 drones hanging out together, and you've got another drone. Which one of those 2 kind of groups are you going for?
I go for the 2.
The 2?
The one that there's more of, yeah.
Yeah. All right, so that's a 10.
Hopefully they,
Okay, so you successfully kind of your scarves basically flying through their midst, and one of them gets kind of wrapped up. You can see that its sensors and sensors and stuff are sort of covered by it, and it's kind of like spinning kind of out of control, almost like it's trying to get the scarves off of it, but in some ways it's making it worse, right? So it's kind of like spinning out of control off of there. And the other one kind of evaded, the other one in that group kind of evaded the effects, and it seems like it's kind of like coming, it evaded by kind of zooming down low, and it's kind of coming at an arc straight for you. So you've got 1 angling for you, you've got 1 angling for Captain Battle. And we see a lot of really cool Captain Battle images popping up on the message section here.
I just had some character art, so I would...
Okay, so now we're at Brunt.
So, in case anybody didn't catch this, I am big. So, I'm looking at what big means, but could you just sum it up?
Yeah. So big. You can use dice of big to do various things, right? Like if you just stepped on somebody, just stood on them, not even like slammed down, you can use your size of big to kind of like do damage to them, right? It's almost like you're always that amount of damage on the ground around you. You could also use it in a pinch for defense. Remember, in supers, you can use any attribute for attack or defense, or most attributes for attack or defense. So if you were in a situation where you'd kind of already used your other attributes for various things, and you were tough, kind of in a pinch, you could use your big advantage to defend.
Did we
I think
just
we lost
did we just lose Brent? Did we
and then we lost Alice.
I didn't do it. It's not my fault. It's so quiet. Yes, the miracles of technology.
I'm sure they'll be back in a second.
I blame the solar flares.
Oh, man.
Oh, I don't know if I said anything.
So while we're waiting for them,
Yeah.
What do we talk about? Do we talk about more supers?
Aid Smith is watching right now. Hey, Aid.
Hey, Aid again.
And what is Aid thinking of our Twitch stream?
He should hear us in about a second or two, and so we'll find out.
Wow,
Hey,
so
Walt.
we're asking from the future.
We're time traveling, just really slow.
Yes, Aldo. How may I help you?
No, I wanted to tell you I haven't had a chance to post anything because of how crazy it was, but half of the chat that I was involved in the other day in Random World, fully half of that was about just supers.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, so I'll send you. I saved the email for the log of that. If you want to, I don't know if it's useful to you in any way, but we talked for about an hour about the Superverse, and then Dan Davenport was like, I really haven't heard about supers. What can you tell me? So we just went for an hour on that.
Negligent in my duties.
No, well, I think he didn't say he hadn't heard. It was that he hadn't done anything on the Superverse Kickstarter back in the day, right? Because he does most of what he does. I get the sense that a lot of what he does on that chat is talk up Kickstarters, and maybe he wasn't doing that back then, right? So, but he didn't. I don't think he was very familiar with the rules because he was asking really good questions about how do you do this, how do you do that, and so I think it was a useful, discussion. It was certainly fun.
When he asked those questions, did you tell them that we do this or that with style?
I don't know that I use that later, but I'll keep that in mind for the future.
Hey, welcome back, guys. Good to see you back.
Thanks.
Hey, good to be back.
Our internet decided to hiccup, and so I had to go and reset something real quick on it.
No worries. So did you get the info you needed to, Brent?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, good.
So, how many groups of the minions are?
There's actually there's still two groups. There's just one in each.
So all of a sudden, rupturing out of the wall is the huge grunt, swinging both of his hands like big clubs. And I'm going to use a competence die if I can to make area effects so I can attack one in each group.
That is totally correct. You can do that. Yes.
All right. So now I'm going to be attacking with my super strength, and it's not a split die pool. It's just the same die pool applied to both. Correct?
That's right, because it's area effect. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, Aldo?
Yes.
I got a 13 as I'm trying to smash both of these stupid drones. And I'm like, I never liked these drones when I was a kid, and I don't like them now.
All right. Well, you got them both and completely lay waste to both of them. Did you smash them together? Did you pound them both into the ground? Did you grab them and crush them, one in each hand? How did it look?
Big hammers coming together, so there's an eruption of little plastic pieces and rotor blades and dust flying everywhere as my mallet-sized hands clash together with them.
That's beautiful. All right, then now we are droneless. Do me a favor, Brunt. Give me a tremor sense roll.
Those weren't what I was talking about, by the way. They were small. I got a 7 on tremor sense.
7 on tremor sense. Okay. Right when you said that, you sense that other presence, right? That other that other presence again, and it's clearly now taking on the rhythm of steps, like something taking steps and moving in your direction. And and that's it. That was a 7, so that's as good as you're going to get on that.
Hey guys,
I can feel the earth move under my feet.
No accompanying music?
That big thing I was telling, it's stepping to us, I think.
Oh my god. And this is how you steal a show, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes. So, it's coming from generally speaking, from your right. So kind of like there's the corridor that goes to your right now, right? And it's coming from that direction, but not immediately around the corner or anything. Sort of to your right and then further deeper in. So it's still a little bit of ways.
It's coming from that away.
I swerve and burn that away.
All right.
So what do we thinking this big thing is? Maybe prisoner, maybe the security enforcement, these little RC cars notified it that they was in trouble as we smashed and kabashed them.
I ran inside because I was afraid that there were other prisoners being experimented on. But whatever broke out. Well, the image I was showing you was leaving. I was showing it to you backwards.
I'm saying, do you think this might be another prisoner?
Maybe. If there are, we need to free them all. It's not right to scientifically experiment on anybody. Not right at all.
Captain Battle, how are you reacting to the conversation?
I concur. It is
or something moving from that direction.
First off, I concur. It is unethical to experiment on unwilling subjects. And the knowledge that there's something large clambering this way, my hammer's at the ready, and I'm following my teammates in that direction.
Okay, so you're all going to move in that direction?
Aldo, did you see the text that was in the text conversation? We've got 2 points of interest for you.
Okay,
From a 25 point, you wanted to give us 6 additional competency dice, right?
Oh, it was 8.
8, okay. And then Mike needs to leave in 30 minutes.
And then Mike, yes, I got it. Okay, cool. All right, we should be able to do that. So, are we talking at 4? Or 4... Oh, well, 4 my time?
For your time, my time, or slightly thereafter. I can pick up my kid about 2:30, so...
Okay, perfect. All right, yeah, we should be able to do this. Okay.
Australian time. No?
No.
All right, shut up now. Let's continue.
All right, so you guys veer to the right, move down the corridor somewhat, and sense your tremor sense, Brunt, is allowing you to detect that this thing is getting closer.
Phenomenal.
And there's another passage that goes that you go for a little bit, and then there's another passage that turns to your left. And one thing, you see something kind of horrific when you get to that point, like lying at the edge of that corridor, right, like right before it would tee with this one, there is a corpse, okay? It's a guy with a huge just blast mark in his chest, all right? It looked like he was wearing actually like a bulletproof vest, but it looked like it didn't help at all. He's wearing a trench coat. No, I'm sorry, he's not wearing a trench coat. He looked like he was wearing a bulletproof vest under janitor's coveralls. Okay. And
under janitor's coveralls, that's odd. Okay.
And there is there's a submachine gun lying next to him. And yeah, there's a janitor with a hole in his chest, like a burnt cavernous hole in his chest, and there's a submachine gun lying next to him. And
This is going to sound a little bit disrespectful, but it's not meant as it at all in this, because I'm going to create a coffin for him, but it's not going to look like a coffin. It's going to look like a saw man in half box. So I'm going to form a saw man in half box around this guy. I'm going to take the rifle, put it on top, and magical etching on the box will say delivery Captain Kono, and I am going to send the box flying out to the perimeter.
Okay, all right.
I also had something I wanted to do.
Go ahead.
Since this looks, if you'll pardon the expression, like no ordinary janitor.
He is well equipped for.
I would say that since I'm a man about and listening to the what happens and the what fors, maybe it's somebody that I had dealt with, because I'm thinking he might be investigating this place as well. I'd like to use a competency die to perhaps know a little bit about the individual from my own inquisitive ways.
Very interesting.
I would like to render an assistance roll with that.
Okay.
Page 13 on the Super's Revised Edition Handbook as a side note.
Yeah. And so what are you using to assist with?
I am going to use my Streetwise.
Okay, go ahead. Roll that, and that'll serve as a bonus to Brunt's roll. And Brunt, go ahead.
I got a 10.
Okay, so that's going to add. It's for every 6, correct?
Yes.
So that's going to add 1 die to your roll. Do you have Streetwise, Brunt?
I got investigation.
You've got investigation. Let's go ahead and roll your investigation. Add 1 to this.
I got 14.
Awesome. All right, sir. You've run into this guy, but not because he's a fellow investigator. You ran into him when you were on some case that brought you a little bit too close to the Russian mob. Okay? To the Bratva. Okay? And, this guy's he's he's muscle for the Russian mob. Let me be a little more specific. As far as you know, it's pretty much common knowledge amongst folks like you who are kind of on the know and investigating in the streets and all that. He's Viktor Volkov is the head of the Bratva in Del Rey. He has been since the 1990s or so. He's a scary guy, and this is one of the guys that works for him.
Yeah, this is Yeleni the Zipper. They call him that because of the way that he uses his guns and he cuts people in half. So I just start laughing when she puts him in a saw people in half box.
All right. That especially since you're now adding universe, I get another competency die.
I do not disagree with it. Can I get a competency die by spending a competency die?
There's no rule against it.
Awesome.
I have
no
authority. You're fine. Rock and roll.
Lenny the Zipper. Well, he's dead, but
Yeleni.
Young Lenny.
No, Yeleni. Here, let me type.
Yeleni.
I tried to make it sound something Russian.
Yes.
Maybe with my accent, it's not coming out so good. And so I just start I'm literally tearing up and just kind of beating on the wall, and you don't understand. He cut people in half for a living. It was the machine gun was his signature, and he. They be in pieces. I mean, it's horrible.
It's horrifying. As a player, I can't roll like that right now. I'm sorry.
He was one bad dude, and we're probably in a better place now with him gone. But oh my God, the cops are gonna love it.
At that point, the wall above you erupts with an explosion. All right. And you guys were all caught up with the drama of Yeleni the Zipper. You notice now that those heavy footfalls are coming from these things, and it's not just one. It's 3. All right, and I'm sending an image now. For those of you, I don't know if chat can see these,
Giant
but they
battle
are
robots.
basically like 7-foot tall robot sort of sentries. At least they were power armored sentries. They have you'll notice that they have these kind of pincers for hands. One of them, the pincers have opened, and it looks like their hands are like hand cannons. All right, and one of them standing there just took a shot at you, and it in a voice similar to maybe the robot in Lost in Space, right? No, probably more Lost in Space. Although
Black Hole.
my heart goes out to Doctor Who. Well, actually, it's funny. When I had these commissioned, I told Joe that I was thinking of something like Maximilian from Black Hole, and I think
the top
he got confused. Yeah, well, I'm not sure, but I think he got confused because the top looks kind of like kind of more of an R2-D2-ish kind of shape in some way, although really menacing kind of. So I wasn't sure if he actually kind of like melded Maximilian with the other robots in there, right? I'm not sure, but anyway, I really like the way it turned out. So, but so there are 3 of these robots at the end of a hall, and in that hall, you see that first of all, the hall is littered with other corpses dressed similarly to Yeleni. Okay, so a bunch of basically, janitors with rifles and submachine guns littering the hall ahead of where he was. And it looks like that section of a corridor opens up into kind of like a room that looks decidedly more high-tech than this one, right? So the corridor, the plain corridor, turns into more like a high-tech facility over where the robots are. You didn't notice because you were still kind of over here and hadn't quite stepped over there. But the robots just took a shot at you. Go ahead and roll initiative to establish an initiative order here.
Are they shooting at us now like a surprise round, or?
Well, since you didn't since you couldn't see them, I didn't give you an opportunity. I'm assuming you were kind of at an angle with Lenny. She probably pulled him over with her magic, put him in the case, sent him off, but you guys hadn't stepped into full view of the corridor yet, so you couldn't see them, they couldn't see you. It's only when you lost it in your passion for how horrible Yeleni was that you kind of went over and pounded the wall over there, made yourself more visible, and that's when they attacked. So I'm just gonna say that they, that it was a near miss, and we can roll initiative at this point. I guess I could have peppered you with blaster fire, but it didn't seem fair.
I was just, if it was shooting at somebody else, I was going to just try and take one for the team with a competency die.
Okay. All right, so go ahead and roll initiatives.
Yep, 3 of us have posted initiatives into text.
All right, I've got a 17 for these guys.
I got a 4, as in the Fantastic 4.
So, Captain Battle has a 16. Mistress Mysteria has an 11, 14 for the Cowl, and 4 for, as in the Fantastic 4 for Brunt. Okay, perfect. So they actually go first. So yeah, they're actually gonna kind of open up on y'all. So let's see. There's one of you is not going to get attacked. Actually, that's kind of a lie. These guys have dual cannons. They have split action on these things. So one of you, yeah. All right. So Brunt, you're going to take one of these guys is going to take 2 shots at you. What are you resisting with? And you know how it works, right, in Supers?
I played a few times.
Yeah.
So they are the 2 shots resisted with 2 separate rolls?
Yes, they are.
Okay. I will go ahead and at first I will use my fortitude to.
Fortitude to resist, that's perfect. Okay, go ahead and roll that for me, please.
24 on the first one.
Oh, that's sweet. All right, so the chances of that doing anything are slim to none. So that hits you, and, there's like, some, shakes some earth loose from you, but it doesn't appreciably harm you. Cool, kind of smoking like spot where the blast hits you, but you're no worse for the wear. What about the second blast?
I will go ahead and use my stone form for 5 dice.
All right, go for it.
That one's only a 10.
Okay, and they rolled a 10, so that's going to do 1 die of damage. You have to decide which one of your competencies you're taking it off of. And
I'm gonna take composure, and as they shoot me, all of a sudden I just turn towards them. I'm like, "Hey, I'm in mourning over here."
Fantastic, brilliant. Okay, let's see. All right. Okay, the rest of you going to get attacked. No, I'm sorry. One more of you. I'm going to say, I'll roll randomly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's going to be the cowl.
As it should be.
Is going to be attacked by, and hold on, let me see who else this is going to. Okay, so the cowl and Mistress Mysteria are both going to get attacked by one that's splitting his attack. So sending one cannon towards one of you and another cannon to another. So how are you guys resisting these single shots?
The first one on, I'm gonna go with academia. No, I'm kidding. The first one I'm gonna use, let's go athleticism.
Okay, great. The dodging out of the way.
A 9.
Ooh, they rolled 12. So you're going to take a die of damage. What are you going to take it to, and why are you taking it to that?
I am going to take it to my reaction and say that it puts me in a weird position to counterattack.
Okay, that's perfect. And then Alice? What is Mistress Mysteria? How is Mistress Mysteria defending from the other attack?
So these are lasers shooting at me, correct?
They're like blasters, right? They don't have the beam aspect of it. It's more like a plasma.
Okay. So I am going to use magic, and I am going to create. My top hat is going to whip up, and it's going to create a gust of force that looks like a tiger is coming out and eating the. So it rings form around these blasters where the blasters are coming through, so it gives the tiger a target zone, and I'm just going to jump through the ring and swallow it for me.
Okay, perfect. Roll your defense.
So wizardry, so let's see how many dice I can activate. I'm going to try and activate 5 because I am not doing well. If I fail to activate before that, if I fail to activate, do I activate lesser? Or do I just activate?
No, if you fail, you fail. And your spell doesn't go off.
I'm actually going to try to activate 3 dice for the defense then.
Okay, so that's only a 9. Yeah.
I would have gotten the other one.
Okay.
Heart for hearts, but so I will go for the 3 dice of defense as the tiger shoots through the hoops. I got a 10.
A 10. All right, they rolled a 12. So 1 die of damage is going to get through. So your tiger goes to eat the plasma ball, and like the tiger lights up almost from the inside as the plasma ball travels through it, and then the tiger kind of like dissipates, and a remnant of what would have hits you, but it only does 1 die of damage. So what resistance are you going to take that from, and why are you taking it from there?
Let me look. I am going to take that out of my will, because I am basically going to stand my ground on this pillow and withstand the rest of it, knowing that I'm not going to be able to dodge it out of the way. So I am going to basically mind over matter this.
Okay. All right. That's cool. Perfect. And then, last but not least, Captain Battle, you get one that's basically going to do both plasma shots at you. He's not going to use split attack, so it's going to be one massive bolt coming at you. So how are you going to defend from that?
I will try to block with my hammer.
Okay.
Because I'm a simple man. So that would be just roll I guess 40 in hammer. Or it's a 60 super weapon.
Yeah, it's 60. It depends on how you're using it, right? If you're saving it to attack, you would want to go with the 4 dice is kind of like your skill with any hammer.
Okay, let's
go. You can use that to defend if you want, and then save the other one for the attack.
Let's go ahead and do that then. I got 14.
14. All right. So you completely negated the damage, right? So just expertly flip it, and block the blow and set yourself up for an attack. And now it is your guys' go, starting with Captain Battle.
Okay. And we've got 3 of these bipedal battle bots.
Yes.
All right. So I'll same kind of maneuver I did. I'll blow a competency die to do an area attack, and I'll roll 6. And let's try that again. Okay.
If you blow 2 competency dice, you can actually attack them all.
Okay, let's do that. And I've got there's 10, there's 14, 18 altogether.
18 altogether. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. You hit them all. None of them goes down, but you land in their midst. If you swing your hammer around and you hit solid blows like on its joints or on its shoulders or on its torso and leave dents and dislocate parts of it, but they're still in fighting order. All right, but you definitely did damage to all of them. Okay.
Cool.
All right, and next up in the order of battle here is the cowl. Yes. He is. You could feasibly do it. Yeah. Yes. I would say that if you're doing that, you can hit 2 of them, because he's he's close to, he's at least more immediately engaged with 1 of them, so you can probably get 2 of them. All right, go for it. Perfect. 19. Nice roll. They rolled 13. So you got them there. 14, 15, 16, 18. Yeah, so you did 2 dice of damage on those. All right. So, okay. Let's see. You blew an arm off each of them. It's like you threw it kind of in between 2 of them, and the blast hits them. Their bodies actually turn sharply to one side, and Captain Battle has 2 big robot arms kind of fly to either side of him and towards you, and with a big fiery explosion behind them. And those guys are really messed up. They look like they're still kind of ambling around, and they still have 1 hand cannon operable, but they're significantly damaged from that attack. Yes, he could. All right, and speaking of which, watch, it's actually Mr. Mysteria's go now.
Okay. They do say practice makes perfect.
Now you might be in a pickle because you can't use your wizardry to attack because you used it to defend.
Okay, yeah. So, I am going to. I'm going to be using my dimensional travel instead.
Okay, cool.
So, I looked at it, and as they're shooting at him, like, well, they do say practice makes perfect. Great disappearing robot trick. And I lean back and I throw my hat in the air, and it spins. It opens up a big portal, turns into a ring on fire, and I point my stick at it, and there's an invisible force that creates a box around one of the robots and shoves them through.
Okay, perfect.
And then
Perfect.
I say, oops, no, they're supposed to disappear inside the box, not behind.
Are you going for the one that is kind of engaged with Captain Battle, or are you going for one of the two that Hal kind of significantly damaged?
I'm going to go to the other one.
The Captain Battle one?
Yes.
Okay, go for it.
No, the non-Captain Battle one. I trust.
Oh, okay. Okay, perfect. One of the two that's severely damaged.
3 dice. I'm going to blow a competency die on this.
Okay, go for it.
Ooh, that's good. 17.
17. So if you had rolled one more, you would have done 3 dice of damage. It rolled a 1 on its defense. Okay, so it is kaput. Yeah. You successfully disappeared the robot.
Awesome.
That's great. And then, last but not least, Brunt.
All right, so how many of these Dalek things are left?
There's one that is in pretty good shape fighting Captain Battle, kind of hand to hand right now, and kind of barely ambling around.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and spend one of my competency dice to attack both of them. I'm going to come charging in with super strength. And are these guys, you said they're firing laser-like things, and it looked like some sort of energy weapon is the one that killed the Zipper?
Yes,
right.
That's correct.
You mechanical monstrosities, you bastards! You killed Yeleni the Zipper, and you killed him. He was actually known as the janitor because he cleaned it up.
They should. They definitely should.
And I've got 19 on my super strength on the two of them as I grab the robot arms that have been blown off and just swing them wildly at the two of them.
Okay, all right. So, so yeah, let me know. Would you roll? How much? Yeah, would you roll for damage for an attack? Oh my god. I'm sorry. What was the number?
Oh, 17. I was hitting the wrong.
Apparently, I should have asked Walt to convert Ragdoll to play with that character of yours, Brandon.
All right. So you totally destroyed the other one with beating it with its own arm, and the one that Captain Battle was fighting takes 2 dice of damage. So now it's really badly in really bad shape. It's still kind of stumbling around, but it's in really bad shape. All right, next round of attacks, we open with Captain Battle. You've got this one that's really, really damaged in front of you, and Brunt has come up and is next to you, he just smashed it and hurt it really bad.
Okay, I guess I'll try to give it just a shot to the jaw with the hammer.
All right, go for it.
Rolling 6 dice again, and oh wow, okay, that's 10, 22, 26.
All right, so you swing the hammer up, and its head pops off and embeds in the ceiling, and it just collapses backwards and falls apart.
Saving it for a dramatically appropriate moment.
All right, folks, and this is you find you find when the battle's over that you are, and this will be a place to stop, but let me just describe the scene that you're immediately in. The room where you were fighting them is like an elevator landing, and you see a bank of elevators to your right. The walls in this room, like I said, are reinforced metal walls. It's kind of a wider corridor that you just came down. And then there is to your left, like looking at the elevators, there's like what it looks like a security station. It looks like it has bulletproof glass, and it's bulletproof because it's got like what do you call it? Like bullets have been fired in there, and you see like the impact where the bullets have hit, but didn't penetrate all the way through. But it looks like in that room there's kind of like a security / control center that overlooks this area, and through that you can see that through the room and in that security area, it looks like there's another similar window that overlooks whatever's on the other side. Okay. And as you kind of look into the other room through the windows, some of you will notice that in that room, there are a bunch of guys that are wearing Stellar Labs security outfits that have just been slaughtered in that room. Like shot up with, in fact, one guy, more than one guy, is cut in half by bullet fire coming from a submachine gun. All right? Precision.
Zippers work.
It's the zippers work, yes. Some of it.
Who wants to play with this?
And that's where we could leave it for now. That's a good place to stop.
Okay, do we get to pick this up another time? Because I want to finish this.
Yeah, I would love to do it again. Let's get together about what scheduling looks like. My schedule's always really crazy, but I'm sure that we can come up with something in the next couple of weeks, right? So let's just, let's discuss it. So did it go all right? This is my first time ever doing something in this platform or anything like that, but
yeah, I think it went pretty well for a pickup game. I had some technical problems with the stream. We actually, I think the stream dropped for a few minutes in the middle there because my video settings are too high on the Twitch broadcast software. So maybe next time. Cool. I think we can upload that video then so our legions of fans can see and enjoy it. But yeah, that was great. And you're hilarious, dude. I have to... Usually I'm making all the jokes in this game, so I'm glad you were here.
Brunt, as played by Brandon, is just unbelievable. And I enjoyed all of your characters. I love the creativity from Mistress Mysteria.
That was really great,
yeah, and just all around, It's
I kind of wish I played Ragdoll instead, because Ragdoll will have a straight waist than Mistress Mysteria. And so I could have had some fun with his neuroses with Strike Force on Ragdoll. Because he apparently has a problem with drones. But yeah.
Nice. Definitely check that out.
Thank you guys for the compliments. I enjoyed playing with you guys. It was lots of fun, and I want to do it more.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, well, I do have to take off, so I will stop the stream, and once we get a link for this on the various websites, I'll shoot it out to you guys, and we can hopefully pick it up. Mondays and Fridays are going to be best for me, just because those are my work-from-home days going forward.
Okay.
Great meeting you, Mike, and great meeting you, Aldo.
Yeah, likewise.
And I think we need to take these elevators down to sub-level 52. I hear that's where they always keep the important project.
No,
We should go on Tuesdays.
it's the 13th floor, the floor that doesn't exist.
Oh, man. All right,
Okay.
folks. Have a great one. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Talk to you later.
You as
Bye,
well.
bye.
Bye-bye.